Isosuri is a light rock float fishing technique that is gaining popularity around the world. It's a great deal of fun. To extend an Isosuri rod, first thing you'll notice is that the rings are covered by a plastic protector. In the middle of the plastic protector, there is a plastic tongue with a hole in it. You thread your line through this. Then, making sure that you've got plenty of line to pull through, as you remove the cover, it will thread all of the rings for you. That is an enormous help. As you extend the rod, you need to change the position of the tiny intermediate rings to get them to sit right on the rod. What you do have to watch is that sometimes the intermediates are spaced with rings that are glued onto the section of blank. Don't force this. The last thing you want is to have a loose ring on an outfit as light as this.
Hello there, I'm down this morning at Goodrington Esplanade. I'm just having a couple of hours and I'm just going to use up a few worms that were left from the other night. Now basically, I could do a number of different things. I've chosen this morning to do some Isosuri fishing. Now Isosuri is all about using very long, mine are 5.3 meter long, telescopic rods, which are really fine. The actual fight that you get from the fish is considerable. It's a great deal of fun. Let's see how we get on. Looking at the tackle, the trace that I use, pretty much standard. The only thing that's a bit different, this float only takes 10 grams of weight, so I've made a little wire link. You only need a swivel on one side, you don't need to have a swivel on both, but the swivel on this side deals for if you wanted, for example, to use a mackerel strip, because that would spin, and without the swivel, your trace would be useless. The other thing I put above it is colloquially called by the Americans a bobber stopper. And basically, you can slide it up and down without damaging your line. But the idea is that your float can only fall so far. And at that point, the chances of the hook coming up and over the float when you're casting are that much harder. As soon as you cast, the float is pushed back out the way, the bobber stopper stops it from coming down too far. Up above that, I've got a little tiny bead, and then from there, I've got my float stop, my stop knot, as per normal, just tied a slightly different way. Also, because the rings are so tiny, I use an Iso cotton. So it just means it's much smaller than a nylon stop knot, and it will go through the rings without any problems. It's called Isosuri fishing.
What's it called?
Isosuri. Isosuri. So it's a Japanese style of fishing.
Oh, right.
But as you can tell, the rod itself is very fine.
Yeah.
And the other thing is that you can still cast. The float there only has a 10 gram weight, so it's less than half of what people are normally using on floats. The actual response to the fish is much more sensitive. You get a big float, the fish feel the buoyancy from the float, they spit it out very quickly. Because this one's between a half and a third of it, they'll take it down a long way and you'll normally have a much better chance of actually hooking the fish. Once you do, you've got the length of the rod works with you, but actually, as you can see, that's how it's responding with a third of an ounce of weight on it. So when you get a decent fish on it, it's quite interesting. Yeah, no, I tried it the other week and I had 9 fish here. So it usually works okay. What you've got to do is get the depth about right. So it's only a neat tide, so it's not going to be particularly high. I would think that will probably be about the right depth.
What's that for? That one on the line, what's that?
Which one? That one there? Oh, that's the stop knot.
Oh, stopper.
That enables me so I can set the depth to what I want. So, first in the net, little ballan wrasse. Sweet little thing. I reckon the depth was just that bit too deep. Let's get that ballan wrasse back in the water quick as we can. Right, let's just try one flick there. I'm actually really enjoying using the rod for this. So I'm fishing out on the edge of the rocks. So I've got sand on one side of me, the rocks on the side that's nearest to me. And just hoping that I can kind of quickly get them on and get them out of the obstructions. Just another little torquing, I think. There we go.
Over the space of a couple of hours, I managed to catch 4 or 5 ballan wrasse and about a dozen corkwings. It was really good fun, especially on the light rods. If you fancy having a go yourself, have a look at some of the tackle on offer at Wavin in Spain. They do some very nice rods, very affordable prices. Mine, for example, were about £65. I matched mine up with Shimano Fighting Drag reels. I just found them easier than the LBD reels, which a lot of the Asian and Australian anglers use. Anyway, that'll do for tonight. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you'd like to subscribe to the channel, it would be very much appreciated. We really love it when people do. I wish you all the very best. Goodbye.